Okay, well, you have some recognitions to start with. Adam, if you could do the introductions.
Our first student to recognize is Eli Pugh, who's here with his parents tonight. We're recognizing Eli because he was named a committed student by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. What that means is he was in the top 3% of all high school juniors that took the PSAT test. So that's a really great accomplishment for him. He was in the top, there were 1.5 million students approximately that took the PSAT. He was in the top 50,000 in the United States. It's very impressive. And then we also have Nikki Ponce with us today. Nikki was named by the Indiana chapter of American Association of Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese as a 2015 Indiana Outstanding High School Student Award in the area of Spanish. Part of that is she went studied abroad last summer in Mexico, and also there's some other criteria that she met through that. So she'll be recognized in Indianapolis on November 7th by that organization.
It's always nice to hear about the great things our students are doing, and congratulations to both of you.
Thank you both. That's wonderful.
Okay, we'll move to the consent items.
You wonder where they can go, I think.
Oh, yeah, you guys are free to go. You don't have to stay around. I know it's an enjoyable meeting, but... Thank you. Okay, we'll move to consent items. We have the minutes of the September 21st regular meeting, certification of the October 7th executive session, minutes of the October 7th special meeting, and the minutes of the October 7th study session. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, if none, we'll move to the financial report.
Our fund balances from last year to 2014 to current year through the month of September. Our general fund in 2014 had $1,007,681 and currently is $912,777. Our debt service in 2014 was $1,559,618 and currently is $1,518,482. Capital projects in 2014 had $167,628 and currently is $404,877. Transportation in 2014 was $716,981 and currently is $825,099. Bus replacement in 2014 was $85,390 and currently is $295,368. Our self-insurance fund in 2014 was $158,376 and currently is $343,236. For approval for our vendor claims, we have claim number 8,223 to 8,384, totaling $1,312,308.41 cents. We had 3 payrolls, 9/18, 10/2, and 10/16, totaling $1,255,856.35 cents.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Okay,
Second
motion by
that.
Jenny and second by Steve. All in favor, right hand. Okay, motion carries 7-0. Now we'll move on to the adoption of the 2016 budget. The board's had time to review that. Are there any questions? Okay, we'll need a motion to approve the adoption.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Lisa
I'll second.
and a second by Sandy. Any other discussion? All in favor, right in. Okay, motion carried 7-0. Student stakeholder focus. We have donations. Reading for Education, 2 $25 gift cards totaling $50, no restriction for Columbia School. Joe Shirk of Twin Peaks Construction, $100 for the Columbia Zebra Zone Character Education Program. Rochester Kiwanis Club, $200 for High School P Club. Kroger, Chuck Kumler, manager, $25 Kroger gift card for the Riddle PBIS incentives. Mike Anderson, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, $400 for RHS football program. Are there any others? Any questions? Need a motion to accept the donations.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Brad,
I'll second.
and second by Lisa. All in favor? Right. Okay, motion carried. 7-0. Information analysis, policy and procedures.
We have presented prior to this meeting 17 policy and procedure updates. We have done 2 readings, so we are ready for a third. There was one that we pulled out at our last study session that we wanted to have more discussion on. So would you like to have that now? And then vote for all 17, or vote for 16 and then have that third reading for that 17th one later?
Anybody have a,
We need to pull that 17th one out.
That's the question. We need to discuss, it was the policy on the use of, yes, and that needed some tweaking, and so do we want to do that tonight?
And
or-
Victoria Zellers, our head nurse, did contact me late last week, and she's working with other schools who have adopted the policy or in the process of doing so. And so she has those communications going on with other schools right now, so it might be to our benefit to see what they're learning and adjust from there.
Okay, so then should we go ahead and present the other 16 for
it sounds like we should
third reading?
do the 16 and
Okay.
wait on the 17.
So we are doing
Everybody's
the
agreement.
policies that we previously presented, and that included a facility use policy as well as several policies in reference to coaches' preparation. And those have been tweaked after talking with the administration and the athletic department, and so we feel comfortable at this point in their current form. And they also, we have heard information that they are on our website to peruse at your leisure. Although I did say I could read through all of them word by word. Scott was hoping I could say yes. So we'll pull out though the EpiPen policy, and that is policy number 5330 is the one we're pulling out.
And I will work with Victoria. She was going to work on that over break and see what we can find out.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the other 16 policies.
I move that we adopt the 16 policies in question that we have worked on for some months. Be glad to have them in policy.
years.
I think one may have been the facility use one.
Do we have a set of minutes that list the numbers of those policies?
I don't know. I
Have they
can
been
read the
read?
numbers.
At least the numbers been read into the minutes? Because we're passing same policies that previously came, so.
I previously did read a little bit about each policy, but I don't think we probably had those exact in the minutes. But I can do that, have the numbers, and then make sure that Julie has those in our minutes. Should we do that?
I feel comfortable with the numbers at least being read.
Okay. So these are the policies that we have presented for the third reading. So most of them are just revised policies. A few are new. There's a substance abuse policy, 3170 and 4170. When you hear those two separate numbers, that means that is working both with classified staff and with certified staff. They're different sections of our policy, whether it's dealing with certified staff, classified staff, there's a student one, and then they're
complete.
Drug prevention, 5530. And if you, that sounds good. Employment of substitutes, 3120.04. Termination and resignation, 3140. Coaches training, 3120.08 and 4120.8. Group health plans, 3419. Another coaches training, 5340.01. Another coaches training, 8455. Mandatory curriculum, 2221. That has to, that's adding CPR. Attendance, this includes state fair, 5200. Student fundraising, 5830. Corporation webpage, 7540.02. Student educational technology acceptable use and safety, 7540.03. Staff educational technology acceptable use and safety, 7540.04. Student records, 8330. And use of school facilities, 7510.
Excellent.
As Jenny said, they are on the website if you want to go into more detail and read them.
That would be the third reading. I'm confident it's the third reading.
Oh, okay. We have a motion by Lisa and second by Steve. Any other discussion? All in favor, right hand? Okay, motion carried, 7-0. Employee pay increase.
At our last meeting, the board approved the collective bargaining agreement, which is the agreement with the corporation and the teachers for a 1% and a 1.5% pay increase based on their evaluations, highly effective and effective evaluations. We know that information, that data will not be released from the state until probably the beginning of the year, January or February. The association understands that all of those funds are on hold until that data is released and we can do final evaluations. And then we would make those determinations and make that retroactive to the beginning of the year. In the same respect, in the amounts that I showed you at our prior board meeting, I would respectfully request a 1% pay raise for all of those employees not included under teacher contracts and administrative contracts. So we would be talking about transportation department, food service department, IAs, secretaries, some of our tech people, our school resource officer. I'm trying to go through and think of everybody as I see them in here, but those that would not fall under the collective bargaining agreement. The overall impact to the general fund would be right around $35,000. Keeping in mind, I know that that doesn't sound like a huge pay increase to those employees, but the district is also absorbing the cost of increase to insurance. So this is the first time I think that they've truly experienced maybe a pay increase without also having to offset that with the increase in insurance. I would respectfully request that we disperse this retroactively from the August 4th hire date or the start date of school, and that those monies be dispersed beginning on November 13th, and then we continue moving forward from that at that 1% pay increase. Some of the $35,000 is the impact to the general fund, keeping in mind that transportation and food service come out of their own funds, and that expense would be far less and can easily be absorbed within those funds.
Okay. We approved the contract at the last meeting for certified, so do we still need to approve for the classified?
This would be the 1% increase for classified.
Classified. So we'll need
Those
a
who would-
motion for that.
Those would be those who do not fall under teacher contracts or have the administrative contract with the underlying teacher agreement with it.
Okay. So we'll entertain a motion to approve the increase for the classified portion.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Don and second by Sandy. Any other discussion?
Dana, is there an evaluation metric? Has that been something that's required yet?
It
or
is something
maybe-
we're working on and trying to build. I know that Kathy Wilkinson in food service, that's something that she's worked on. Building level principals have been working on. We've got some IA evaluations out there, working with the teacher that oversees the IA as well as the building principal. It is in its infancy, but we are working on those.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Right hand. Motion carried, 7-0. PBIS grant money.
We're excited to share. I think if you look up above for the donations, we constantly see these PBIS donations that we are seeking in the community. PBIS is a positive behavior intervention system, and it has a lot of data and a lot of support that goes behind it. And I may call on Cassie here in a few minutes because I know she's been an integral part of this at both Riddle and at the middle school rolling it out. But it is a very costly program to have those incentives and those rewards for students and making sure that we can follow through. So we're constantly asking for donations. Dr. Carrie Cadwell, who works with 4 County and plays a very vital role in our district and within the community providing those supports, found a grant through Into Care, which allowed 3 of our buildings, Columbia, Riddle, and the middle school, each to receive $15,000 for this school year specifically for PBIS. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but then we get funds again at the beginning of 2016. So we're talking $15,000 per school this year, and when we roll around in 2016, they're going to give us more grant money to continue to sustain that PBIS program. So we're excited for those funds, excited hopefully to continue to perpetuate those programs without constantly having to reach out to the community to help support that. So just wanted to share that.
Sounds good. Okay. Moving on now to personnel report. Resignations. Crystal Karanko, Columbia ECA Treasurer. Alex Lute, High School Spanish Teacher. Kathy Watson, Riddle Instructional Assistant. Termination. Amanda Schroyer, Columbia Preschool Instructional Assistant. Maternity leave, Alyssa Ramsey, January 6th through March 11th of 2016. Fall and intercession assignments, Sandra Boggs, Columbia, Amy Banks, Columbia, Bethany Sewell, Columbia, Emily Brown, Columbia Instructional Assistant, Mona Zion, Riddle 3rd grade, Leslie Screm, Riddle 4th grade, Angie Smith, Riddle 5th grade, Julie Kitchell, Riddle Teaching Assistant, Lori Shane, Middle, Chris Cox, Middle, Alan Sager, Middle, Felix Amandi, High School English, Deb Wolford, High School Mathematics, reassignments and assignments, Shirley Swick, Bell Bowl Coach, Fall Enrichment, Goshert Farms, October 22nd, 2015, Columbia, Megan Gungler. Knowlbrook Farms, October 26th, Middle School, Patty Moore. Indiana Dunes State Park, Albanese Candy Company, October 26th, Riddle, Brian Goss, Megan Schroeder, and Charlie Schwank. And then we have the attachment of the winter coaching recommendations. Everybody had a chance to look those over? Okay, I need a motion to approve the personnel report tonight.
I move we accept the personnel report as read.
Okay? Second? Okay, motion by Lisa, second by Sandy. Any other discussion? All in favor, right hand. Okay, motion carried, 7-0. Okay, at this time, this portion of the meeting, we have a segment for community concerns. I mean, we like when people get involved and come talk to us. And so we're going to open up the floor. We're going to allow 3 minutes a person to speak. if the board needs more clarification or something, they can ask more clarification if necessary. So at this time, is there anybody that would like to speak?
I would actually.
Okay, if you'd introduce yourself, please.
I'm Louis Boroff. I emailed all 7 of you.
Okay.
So, if I may, I'll keep this within my 7 minutes. I'll keep talking, Mrs. Haynes. I'm a product of this community. I grew up in this city. My mother is right here. One of my longtime friends. I went to Columbia, to middle school, to high school here in this city. I'm a human being first, but also a photographer. My nephew attended these schools. So on October 2nd of this year, I attended a football game. I walked from my home on Monroe Street to this high school, and I was in my own world, not bothering anyone. Who I work with as a server, she is a host. She attends Rochester High School. She came up to me, Louis, and I had this small little video camera right here. She knew well that I was photographing her. She gave me full consent, as did her friend that I know through Dairy Queen and through my nephew. And you know what I asked her? What did you learn in school this week? Who is your favorite school teacher and why? Until Robert Doherty and Chris Kiesling and 2 other male, I don't know their names, came up to me and asked me, what are you doing? Do you have permission? I have the video at home and I will give you all copies from A to Z, how it transpired. And they let me stay. After I asked, is there a problem here? Who just graduated from your school last year? Uncle Louie. I'm not even her uncle. I know many people in this community. The head of the 911 today sat at my table. I'm photographing all of them. So why was I singled out? Why was I asked why I was videotaping 2 girls that I had full consent and allowed to stay at a high school football game, trying to find my good friend Shelly Thompson, the head cook of Tippecanoe Valley High School. I grew up with her. Why was I singled out? And then Mrs. Vance and her car with Robert Doherty on October 5th came to my home, my mother's home on Monroe Street, and asked me to never come back on all 4 premises, and you all have, respectfully, those emails, and all bus stops. Why? Why me? When everyone uses their video cameras, their smartphones, on every single Friday night, a Saturday night, and they post them on social media. I don't. This is Cassandra Miller. She was just at Riddle School last year, and she went back to school to become a teacher. She's a product of you. I graduated from Whitco. Bill Patrick was my coach. I just spoke to the principal of Whitco 2 weeks ago. Very accepting. Yet, I was singled out by your resource officer and your assistant school principal of the high school. They can't even look at me. And I'm trying to be respectful, and I'm trying to be calm. But I am very, very, very frightened by what you all are teaching. Are you teaching hate in this community? Mrs. Vance, all of you 7 board members. I am 41 years old. I'm not this little boy anymore that was shunned because I'm a blatant homosexual. I have photographed countless celebrities all across this country, only to come home in 2012 to be treated like, I don't know, use the words. I'm quite well spoken and I know words very well. Been called every one of them. And as I walked home that night on October 2nd, 2015, I was this little boy all over again. frightened, and I was harassed, and I was discriminated against, and I was singled out. And this is not the only day that I will stand up for me. I want to know why. Do you have that answer today? I thank the 3 of you that did respond to my email out of 7. We are not to teach hate to our children. We are to teach better things to the children. I know for a fact what Rochester Community Schools have done to me and to countless children in this community. I've spoken to their parents that run many of these businesses in this great city of 46975. I'm not here to play politics. I'm not here to be with the big boy group. I'm here to be a human being and to ask that you treat me like such. So if you don't have that answer for me today, respectfully, I ask that all of you come up with it expeditiously, because the world will want to know if we are teaching hate, or as I emailed you, how about we teach the greatest love of all? That is what we should be teaching all human beings, is to love unconditionally. And I was a spectator that night. I bought that ticket from the woman that is the notary downtown on Main Street. She knows me. Many people knew me there that night. Cassie Miller, her son was there. So why was I singled out? Anyone? So I pray that you have inferred my message as it is stated, because I pray that no one is ever treated like me. And this happened twice. And this right here, signed by you, Mrs. Vance, and it's not all facts. There was no trespassing order given to me in 2012. That is not true. There is no record of it anywhere, ever. So, your superintendent must not know what she's talking about, because that's her name. That is her name. So when she says all of this happened, I believe the information that was given to her and the video are 2 different things. Videos never lie. Human beings do. And I thank you all for your time. This will not be the end that I talk about this. I am not done with this. I want an answer. I live at 1107 Monroe Street, Rochester, Indiana. My name is Louis Lee Boroff Jr. Don't forget that I am a product of you. And once upon a time, you cast me away, and I have come back home. And I pray that you give me the answer that I need and deserve. Thank you so much for your time. And I apologize if I went past 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Louis.
You're welcome. And I appreciate all the emails you gave me.
We will have to gather information. We
Yes.
can't just give you an answer.
I will patiently wait. I have until my last breath. Thank you.
Do we have other comments that would like to be made at this time?
I'll respond. I'm the assistant principal, Chris Kiesling, and just to set the record straight from an administrative standpoint, I was alerted to a patron that was in the crowd taking pictures and video of students who claimed that they didn't want to be taken a picture of. I don't know the gentleman, Lewis, prior to this year, and so anything prior to the past history I don't know anything about. But upon responding to this situation, I asked the 2 young ladies that he alerted to my, or they alerted me to the attention of Lewis, and so I asked him if he was taking pictures or video unwanted. They both said yes. I had another patron come to me and say he was taking pictures and videos of the cheerleaders and thought that was inappropriate. I asked him if he was a parent. or anybody like that? And he said no. And that's where I left it. And I told him to please put that stuff away. Then later on, I was approached again by another patron saying he was at it again, as well as other students. And so at that point, then we told him to leave the premises. So that's where we were at. Me and Officer Doherty were the ones that approached him and told him to leave the premises. So that's how it unfolded.
And in rebuttal, with all due respect, none of that transpired. When they asked me to put this away, I put it in my pocket. And as I approached the Tippecanoe Valley side, I had this iPad out. And I jokingly tell people that this is my iPhone 6, or no, 12, excuse me, 12. Yes, this is Cassie Miller. It is. Because I have a free Google Voice number, and I'll put it out now. It's 304-460-9061. And I use it as an iPhone. And I had it open, if you remember. And I was facing the west, trying to find Shelley Thompson. And I had it out, and his exact words, and I have him on audio, "You're good, wonderful assistant, principal. We want you gone. We want you gone." And I asked him respectfully why. I did use not one vulgarity that day. I did not have a video camera on me that night. That is a lie. I had this. I mean a video camera, excuse me. I had a video camera, not a camera. I was nowhere near the cheerleaders that night of October 2nd that he is talking about. There is no possible way that he is telling the truth this night. I had this small little video camera. It is not capable of photographing anyone. And I know for a fact on that video, when Robert Doherty came up to those girls in front of me, they asked them if they had permission, if I had permission, and they both said on video in front of me, yes. So why was it then changed? The ultimate answer and question, why? I want to know why.
Any other comments?
In 2012, I'm one of the cheer coaches. When Mr. Borgoff first showed
You
up,
want to state your name?
Lucas Shingles. And he was taking pictures then of the cheerleaders. Some of them, I had parents in the stands, two of which I have that have girls that were currently on the squad then. And then he was asked to leave as far as what I know, going off of only what I was told by the administration. Poses, different poses were, do this, do that. And that's fine. I didn't know who he was at all. Val Hoover at the time was another coach. Came up to him, said, "I'm sorry, you're making some of the parents uncomfortable. He did at the time have a nephew on the team, and, but the girls had no reason to be on camera and this and that." So we did ask him to leave. That was handled. Valley game came, the bell game. He's over by the football moms booth, close proximity to the girls. Had two girls still on the squad. They noticed him. Parents noticed him. Allie and I are in charge of 18 girls. They're like our daughters. Their protection comes first. That was my concern.
And if I may say,
You've had your opportunity to say.
Yeah.
We're not going to ever finish if you keep responding.
okay, thank you.
We have other people who'd like to speak.
Sure.
My name is Amy Agnew, and yes, I am one of those cheer moms. My daughter was on the squad. We witnessed him taking the pictures. I had no idea who he was. Had he handled the situation differently, there may not have been that uneasy feeling that was between all of us parents. We were trying to figure out who he was. No one knew. So our priority is our children. And if we can't make sure that they're protected, then who will? And I agree, yes, you felt like you were thrown away. I'm sorry for that. But in the same token, I had no idea who you were.
Yes, I agree.
Had you addressed us as parents and said, may I photograph your children or your child, that might have been a different story. I have no idea who you were.
And no one.
And I still don't, honestly.
No one came up to me except the cheer coach, and they asked me to.
We handled it the way we were supposed to. We went through our avenues.
Okay, someone else?
Hi, I'm Angie Walker. Also, my daughter has been on the cheerleading squad since her freshman year. And back in 2012, you know, I feel the same way as Amy here. We didn't have a clue who he was. If he would have approached us as parents, that, you know, our #1 priority is our children. If he would have approached us and asked, hey, can we take a picture of your daughter out there cheering? You know, that's something different. We would have had permission. But he was to the point where he was singling girls out of the cheerleading squad in 2012. And we brought it to our coach's attention because us as parents, you know, we don't know who he is. We have to, like Amy and everybody said, we have to protect our children. And at the Bell game, you know, my girl and Amy's daughter, you know, they both noticed him and gave us parents and the coaches an uneasy look. You know, so we actually I've noticed him then, and I felt the same way. He shouldn't have been there unless he has permission from us parents to photograph, you know, to take pictures of our kids, especially the cheerleaders or anybody. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm Tom Butler. I'm the one that initially alerted Officer Dory and the assistant principal. As I was leaving the stands watching the football game, I was west of the football lounge booth, and I observed a gentleman talking with a couple girls and didn't really think anything of it. I was, like I said, going to concession stands. And then I noticed he had his tablet out flat with his video camera, moving it back and forth between the two girls. As a parent, I found that concerning. And I hope you can appreciate the being a member of the community with what we see in social media nowadays and all these concerns. So I found it odd that I'm a photographer. I take over 300 pictures of the football game. I watched the football game. His back was to the field of play and focusing on the two young ladies. Again, as a parent, I found this concerning. Confronting a gentleman who I've never met or seen before that night, seeing Officer Doherty up on the hill, proceeded in my way of traffic to go to concession stands and alerted him of what I had just observed. And then I was concerned and I thought questions should be asked of why he was filming. And it wasn't really trying to be too concealing with it, but yet it was kind of, I thought, suspicious in nature at the time. My daughter's a cheerleading coach, a student here at one time. My son is a senior here. I care about the community, and I was just concerned about the well-being of the young ladies. Whether they had permission or not, if they weren't 18 or not, can they legally give permission for such an act? Is my question. Like I said, the big thing was I saw two young ladies. Didn't seem to be too uncomfortable, but like I said, it seemed peculiar or odd that if one goes to watch a football game, why are you videotaping two girls away from the field of play? So like I said, that's when I made the alert, and that's how this whole thing kind of started at the beginning that night of October 2nd, I guess it was.
I'm going to say this. I'm a homosexual, not a pedophile. That's all I'm going to say.
I was unaware or made no accusations on who you are or what you are.
And I realize that, sir. I totally agree with you. Respectfully, I do.
You know, I am a public servant as well.
Of course.
And, you know, just concerned for the well-being of the two students.
I have photographed countless children. These children right here. I know how to write a contract. And I protect children at all costs. My video did not appear on social media that night nor the other night. Those cheerleaders, with all due respect, knew my nephew. Now, I didn't go up in the stands and ask the parents. But when they approached me, the way they approached me and how they said this to me, they asked if I was photographing girls underneath their skirts. That is verbatim what they asked of me. And then I wonder, why would they even ask me that? I'm not a pedophile. I'm gay. That has nothing to do with each other. We are not a small-minded city here. I do not believe that.
So they said, I could care less what your sexual orientation is.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
Officer Doherty, Mr. Kiesling, Mr. Butler, and parents, you were concerned for the safety of your children. You were worried about what your experiences and life experiences taught you?
Yes.
Mr. Borp, I'm going to save you the time of an email and tell you that's exactly why I think they did the right thing, and that's why. That's my one response as one school board member. So I will save you the email and your time. You've got my answer. Thank you for coming.
So your business, you're a professional photographer?
Yes.
Did you identify yourself as such to any of these people?
I told all the girls that I'm a photographer.
When we have professional photographers on our grounds, they either notify central office or administration or our athletic director. They receive field passes so that they can be on the field to do such pictures. Our concern is when we are not alerted as office staff or as administration, we have some parents, a small handful of parents, and maybe Candy Hayes can help back me up here. She deals with this paperwork. Parents who specifically sign that they do not want their pictures taken of their children. So when RTC is here, when DeBruler is here, when a professional photographer, when one of the news stations comes in, those are things that the administrative team has to sit down with those professional photographers and speak about. That was never discussed. That was never given to us as a professional photographer.
In 2012, I approached this woman, and honestly, I can't remember her name. She worked in the athletic department. And I remembered her from years ago, and I spoke to her as I went into the game that homecoming night. And I said that, hey, we should talk. I have my camera here. Is there any issue with me taking photos? I even asked her that. I'll go home and find out that name. But there's no way I was anywhere near cheerleaders on October 2nd of this year. I wasn't even anywhere near the stands. I was on the west side where the band was going. There were 14 seconds left in the first half. Rochester was winning. I was nowhere near cheerleaders that night. I was not photographing anyone. Now in 2012, perhaps I could have done it differently. But when someone is approached and asks you if you're photographing someone underneath their skirt, and you have photographed children after child and celebrities, and you know that you would never harm a child, don't you think, I know you're all human, don't you think that you would get a little perturbed with someone suggesting that you are more than just who you are? I want to hear your answer. If you say no, I would never believe it. Any one of us is guilty of doing that. If someone came up to my mother, this is my mother, and asked her such a thing, I'm sure she would not be happy with that. I have slept very little in these weeks. This has weighed heavily on me.
Okay.
And I do care about the children, many of them.
Do we have anybody else who would like to comment at this time?
I can give you my answer tonight.
Please.
I think they all acted with responsibility toward our students.
And you don't think I was singled out?
No.
I know many parents that have told me there's many people that photograph and videotape and upload it to social media, Facebook, Twitter, all of them, on a regular basis.
I don't think you were singled out because I don't think they knew who you were or what you're proclaiming that they did this because of your sexual orientation.
I'm asking why.
Who knew that?
I'm asking why.
I mean, do you go around with a sign on you? So how did they know who you were or what you were, as you want to say it?
Well, I'm wearing red glasses. I think I'm a little different than most.
Well, I wear a lot of colored glasses, so.
And you're a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm a man.
Right. But I think they acted within their authority for our students. That's my answer.
Okay, board, any other questions? Mr. Borofs, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
We'll gather this information and consider.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the others for coming in too.
Thank you, everyone. Seriously, thank you.
Okay, superintendent business.
Just a few upcoming dates that we all need to make note of, just general reminders. On November 2nd, we do have a school board meeting that we will have here. I think I may be a little bit confused. Is that a 5:30 start time or a 6 o'clock start time?
6 o'clock start time to the board. The community school building corporation meet 5:30. They have some actions to take, and at least 2, maybe all 3 of the community school board building committee will be here. But this board will meet, should be over in half hour, 45 minutes, I believe.
Okay, thank you. So we need to make note of that, and I'll work with Julie to make sure we get out that posting and all of that information. November 4th, I've scheduled at 11:30 a lunch and learn at the Streamliner. I know at this time that Lisa is able to attend, and I think, Steve, you were...
Yeah, I had a conflict at noon.
Okay, so we still have room for one more board member, but on November 4th at 11:30, we'll have that lunch and learn at the Streamliner in their meeting room, and they're excited to have us there, and we appreciate them extending that to us. And then last note is that this Wednesday is our last day before fall break, and I want to thank the administrative team and the team of teachers and directors here and all of those school employees for their hard work and dedication. And Josh, thank you for coming this evening too, but we appreciate a great start to the school year and hope that you enjoy your break and have time to yourselves and come back refreshed and ready to take on that second 9 weeks. And that's all that I have.
Okay. As the board have
I was at Rebel today, and I did not eat. I wish I had. I saw what Wendy was carrying back to her desk. But I want to tell you that the teachers and staff over there were just jubilant about their cafeteria and what's coming out of it now, and that Pat Camp is doing an excellent job.
Good.
So I think she deserves some recognition.
You're all invited for a free lunch.
I have my free lunch. It looked really, really good.
Yeah, a lot of good things going on in food service, absolutely.
Anything else? I'd like to thank everybody for coming. At this time, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.